Hello everyone. I know my hair is a mess, but this is too crucial to not to not talk about briefly. So, I'm sure you've heard about what's dubbed and very misleadingly and deviously and delusively named the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It is anything but. People have been polled across the country, have been made aware and have been informed about what this bill entails, the cuts to food assistance, the extreme cuts to Medicaid. It's not just cuts for people who don't want them, like the narrative on Fox News says. But listen, please listen to me. If you are a Fox News watcher, that's okay. Okay? But it's not okay to believe everything that you hear, and I don't. You're going to say, I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC. I don't watch it. I literally look at articles from both sides, and I also use ChatGPT. That's a source which actually gathers sources for you and pulls sources for you, and communicates them into its own language. It takes the sources for you, pulls them all, and you would think it'd be even biased towards Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the president, right? But Trump is so bad that even ChatGPT says that some of the things that are in this bill are wrong. So if some of the things are in this bill that are very detrimental, it could mean that people lose their health care, their insurance, or a disabled veteran. This is a real life scenario. This is not a hypothetical. This is not hyperbole. People who are under Medicaid will lose their coverage. And these are people who, some of these people are disabled. They cannot work. And they're going to get their assistance, their stimulus, they're going to get that severely reduced. Severely reduced. People who are disabled, people who are Medicare recipients, who are Medicaid, excuse me. And it's just non-scoping of these things. It's just like drive before you turn on the car. That's literally the exact analogy of what this means. People need food assistance programs to help them lift them up out of poverty. Okay? And this isn't just cutting people who are abusing the system like they're telling you. This is going even further. This is cutting people who are vulnerable and need it. They need it. We shouldn't just wipe it out. Oh, we'll just wipe the whole thing out to not help anybody. But this is another thing. We're giving tax cuts to the rich with this money. Let me tell you something. Elon Musk, most of MAGA, all liberals, socialists, even some fascists, actually, some people with very neoconservative war hawks, everybody moderates, progressives, they all are against this bill. That's why there was literally a poll, and I know polls aren't the most reliable source, I know that, I get that, but there was a poll that said 70% of Americans, 70%, this was taken, I think there was like 35,000 people who participated in this poll, so it gives us a pretty good idea. 70% of the people said that they, based on what they've heard, do not like this bill. They do not want this bill to pass. That doesn't mean they still won't like Trump. That doesn't mean they still won't like Republicans, because they don't do their research. They either are completely oblivious to all of it and say, oh, I like Trump because, my wallet was good back then. And that's what they think, and that's what Trump wants you to think, but it really wasn't. People's 401ks were crashing during COVID. Okay, they were. And why is that? Because Donald Trump mishandled COVID. He really did. He denied it even existed for months on end. And now we're seeing the same thing. The stocks going up and down, inflation still pretty high. We're seeing gas prices. Gas prices are about to go up with this bill, with this energy. The lack of federal resources. They're gutting it without being properly vetted, and they're giving that money to the rich. They are giving that money to the rich. It would be different if they weren't, but they are giving that money that poor people rely on to give to the rich. Think about what Jesus said. Jesus actually publicly went out of his way to denounce and reprimand. This is actually, I'm a Christian, so I know this. I've read Bible verses, I've looked them up, and I've said them before I go to sleep because that's what I choose to do. And so this is actually really personal to me, and I know this. I have transformed more into a Christian every day. But I know for a fact that Jesus actually publicly criticized and condemned taking from the poor, taking from the lower individual and giving it to the richest individual is the words that he described it. And you can fact check me, you can authenticate this, use ChatGPT, say, is it true that Jesus said my exact words, that you shouldn't take from the poor to give to the rich? And you will see numerous quotes that have been interpreted and many versions, and all versions of the Bible, and it's really hard to weasel your way around that. But it's the truth. Jesus would be appalled, and he is appalled. God's appalled because we're failing him right now. We really are. And this is coming from the most diehard Christians, people who I consider to be, friends, and then they support something like this. They turned a blind eye to this. When people are getting hurt, people are going to get cut off of their health insurance, off of their Medicaid, off of their premiums. I saw an article where their premiums could possibly spike by $26,000. $26,000. That's more than some people even make. That's more than some people are even able to make. And we can always talk about the hypotheticals and everything, but this does not help. This does not help anything. We have crises in our country. We need reform. We need tax reform, but we're going in the opposite direction of what we need to do. We need to tax the rich to generate money to give to the rest of everybody. That doesn't mean that, don't take that out of context, because that does not mean, and I know people clip this out because that's the way they do it, but that doesn't mean that we hate the rich. But that just means we don't think that billionaires should exist. You can be $800 million. That's a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money that you can do with. But $1 billion is that holds more wealth, that amasses more wealth than many countries on earth. Countries in Africa, even some countries in Asia. I don't even know if Australia has that GDP. But it's like there are some countries that truly do not have $1 billion, the whole country. And we're supposed to believe that some individuals should have $1 billion while some of us are in poverty, while some of us can't get a job because they're disabled. I'm not disabled, but I care. Just because I'm not disabled doesn't mean I don't care about people who are. Jesus wanted people to care about one another. He said, I know this specifically, he said to give, if a homeless person requests for bread, give them 2 loaves of bread. If they request for one loaf of bread, give them 2 loaves of bread. And that's something that's a mantra that we should live by every single day. That's what we should tell ourselves every single day. And even if you don't support Jesus, because a lot of people who don't support Jesus, they even know it's wrong. They even know it's wrong. And I'm not trying to ponder to Christians here. I'm just trying to understand why so many Christians think they support Trump, but they don't. If they knew what he was doing, if they really did, if they turned off Fox News and they learned what he was actually saying and doing, I think they'd be healed. Because that's exactly what Jesus wanted. Jesus wanted people like me to influence other people, not by doing all the, whatever you call it, indoctrinating people. No, that's not what I'm saying. But it's important to help influence and inform people of the awareness of the Bible and, how people interpreted it, because what people are doing, they are not practicing what they preach. They really aren't. They aren't. And it's the saddest thing in the world. It really is. People who go to church, they say, oh, we love Jesus, and they worship the entire time, but then they go home and write Trump on their walls and say, oh, I love Trump. Trump is the exact embodiment of the Antichrist, my friends. Literally, look it up. It's like, look up the character traits, the characteristics of the Antichrist. You will see every single one of them lines up exactly for what Donald Trump is doing, what he's doing. They said they will divide people. They will divide and conquer. They will try to turn away immigrants and turn away people who come to this country seeking refuge. It's a fact. They will, indulge in adultery. That's another thing. Donald Trump has, 3 wives or 5 different children with 3 different wives, and he cheated on the one he has now, Melania. He had sex with a porn star while he was married to Melania Trump, and while his child was, while Melania was pregnant with Barron. So it's like, it doesn't make any sense, my friends. It doesn't.